as you stand for the reflection, please remain standing for James Gaspard for the pledge.
Dear God, in your infinite wisdom, you have given us the ability to reason and create solutions to help alleviate suffering in this world. We give thanks to you for the gift of medicine and all those who provide us modern-day medical miracles, for the gift of research and all those who give us health and longevity through their perseverance, for the gift of free will and to those that put the needs of others ahead of the needs of self, for the gift of empathy and to those who feel the pain of others and work tirelessly for solutions to that pain. And lastly, we thank you, God, for the gift of another day and for those whose work will change the world into a better place. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, something new today. As I get the meeting underway, I want to thank WGTE, which is our meeting sponsor out there, and I would like to thank you for sponsoring the meeting and for helping out this Rotary Club. Thank you very much, WGTE. You may see this in the future. Brian Houston, would you help us welcome visiting Rotarians?
Absolutely. President Tim, we have one guest Rotarian today, and that is Allie Glover from our Perrysburg Club.
Aaron, visiting Rotarians are always welcome, and thank you for joining our meeting. I'd now like to invite members to introduce guests, please.
Hello, President Tim and fellow Rotarians. I'd like to introduce the new president of iHeartMedia as of a couple of months ago. This is Shoj Abramovich. Did I get that right? You did. Okay. I'd like everyone to welcome Shoj. Thank you very much.
Welcome, Shoj.
President Tim, fellow Rotarians, I'd like to introduce Dr. Deborah Manton. She's the Dean of Nursing at Hondros College.
Welcome, Deborah.
President Tim, I'd like to introduce the Director of Operations of the Better Business Bureau, Gene Haynes, who's my guest today.
Gene, welcome. Welcome all. As we get the meeting underway, those of you that are using social media, now would be a good time to comment on how much you like this Rotary Club and what a good job your president is doing. And then if you could just turn the cell off, that'd be great. As many of you may have noticed, the photographer Sheena Kay is here again today. She tells me that collectively, as she was taking pictures last week for the directory, she was able to make 154 pounds disappear on the members here. And I've decided that after this meeting, I'm going to ask her to give me a full head of hair. The next portion of the president's announcements are rather serious. As some of you may know, I follow what's going on in the world of polio closely. And I have to announce that so far this year, we have 56 cases of polio. Year to date, last year at the same time in the entire world, there were 33 cases. So we're not doing very well on this. The cases that we are having are all in Afghanistan and Pakistan. 11 of them in Afghanistan, the other 45 are in Pakistan. It's easy to understand why we're having so much trouble. We've had in the last 2 years many people murdered for the act of vaccinating, and we have a population that's been terrorized. I don't even know what to say about that. You know, we've been involved in polio for almost 40 years. We're one of the principal clubs, and we poured a lot of money into this and a lot of time, and I'm not dismissing the personal tragedy, but we're having a hard time right now. Moving on, where's Kendra? Can you join us for an announcement on what's going on with youth services?
Good afternoon, everyone. So I just wanted to give a couple of updates on youth services. So we're really excited about what's happening at the committee this year. And Candace Harrison, who is our vice chair of the committee, and I are excited to talk to you today about two things. One is our youth services project, so service project. If you've seen in the last spoke that went out, and it'll continue to come to your email, our project for the summer and fall is going to be helping the teachers at Glendale Fieldbach create a supply pantry. This time of year, so many amazing organizations are doing supply drives for the students, but we're really able to have some good conversation with the administration at the school about what happens 3 months from now, 6 months from now, when all of those supplies have been used or misplaced or whatever happens to supplies in the middle of the year. And so really wanted to create a supply pantry for the teachers to be able to keep supplies on hand throughout the school year. So you'll see that we've broken out the supply needs by last name so that we don't have a concentration of the same thing. So if you look, which I think is flashing, yeah. So by your last name, that's the request list that has come directly from the school. We'll be collecting from now until August 12th, and there will be bins if you come on a Monday meeting, either out in the front, or if you want to coordinate with Kathy to be able to drop those off at non-Monday hours, I'm sure she'd be willing to do that for you as well. So really looking for 100% participation. Give what you can. We're really excited to continue to partner with the Glendale School as we do through disability services and a lot of events throughout the year. So please join us in that. The other thing is just an invitation to join us at a meeting. As you know, we've been talking a lot about transformational projects. The Universal Pre-K transformational project will sit in youth services, and so really looking forward to getting to work and digging in with our community partners on that. So please continue to check your spoke in your email for those meeting dates. We invite you to join us, or if you're an existing member, continue to join us, and we're really excited for a great year on youth services. Thanks.
Thank you, Kendra, for the great work you and your committee are doing. Next up, we have Brian Kennedy, who is going to make a presentation, a grant presentation. And before I give him the mic, how many people in this room know that Brian is a champion skeet shooter, at least in White House? Brian.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon. On behalf of the Toledo Rotary Club Foundation, it is my pleasure today to present an $8,900 grant check to the Girls on the Run. This grant is providing for branded arches and flags for the races that they conduct. Our Community Service Committee received the grant request, participated in the vetting process, and made the decision to recommend to both the club board as well as the foundation trustees for its approval. It is due to countless Toledo Rotarians who gives unselfishly, which enable us to provide these grants every year. Thank you to everyone who continues to support the Toledo Rotary Club Foundation so that we can continue to aid in supporting the needs of our community. I'd like to invite Lisa Krebs, the Executive Director of Girls on the Run, to come to the podium and accept a grant and share a short description of how our foundation's gift of $8,900 has helped their organization. Let me just grab that.
Thank you. Thank you so much to the Toledo Rotary, not just for this specific grant, but thank you so much for your dedication to so many nonprofits that serve our community. We all really appreciate what you do. I will be brief because I've been told that that's important. So just quickly, Girls on the Run of Northwest Ohio is a program, a 10-week program for girls in 3rd through 5th grade that uses running as a tool to teach girls that they can do whatever they want to do with a little bit of hard work and goal setting. And the culminating event of our 10-week program is a 5K, so where we invite the community and the girls come out to run a 5K to show that they can do something that they didn't think that they could do before. We started in Northwest Ohio in 2012 and probably had about less than 100 people at our 5K that first season. This spring we had close to 2,000 runners at our 5K. So, as you can imagine, with that comes a lot of growing pains, great growing pains, but also a lot of different needs for equipment and things that will help keep it a fun and safe day for those girls and their families. So we will use this money for that, and we appreciate you, and we welcome you to all come out to our 5K in the fall, the fourth Saturday, the Saturday before Thanksgiving, so you can see what your good work has gone to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lisa. Am I to understand that with our contribution, you're reaching out, you're using it to reach out to 2,000 girls?
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you for what you do. The next person I'm going to introduce is going to be introducing a new member. He's well known to us. He's a past president. He's a past district governor. He's a winner of the, help me, what's the name of that? Where is Chuck? He's a winner of the Jefferson Award. I was just stuck. And many of you don't know it, but he's a poet. He's an unpublished poet, but he's a poet nonetheless. And I think that's something many people don't know. Could you join me, Chuck? Chuck Stocking, please. A little recitation, please.
I'll save you the pain of hearing my poems. I played the role of Cyril Gumdinger, my children's tooth fairy, and they always got poems when they lost their teeth, so I have a whole bevy of poems, but they're not, you won't want to hear them. So President Tim and fellow Rotarians, it's a great pleasure for me to introduce a new member, Wes Grudzian, to our club. He is the kind of guy that you would expect to meet as you engage with Rotary. Very committed, a person with vision about what can be, a person with the energy and smarts to make things happen, a person who lives by the four-way test. So I've worked with Wes over the years on a number of projects, but I didn't know a lot about his background, so I sent him a text and I said, Wes, you better send me more background about yourself, and if you don't, I'll just make stuff up. So he was pretty quick in getting back to me. So here's what he shared with me. He grew up in Gainesville, Florida, and attended the University of Florida, where he double majored in musical performance and political science. I'm thinking this could be really interesting in these times to have a singing politician, but he is a classically trained operatic tenor who enjoys Olympic powerlifting, and that's another interesting combination. You should hear him sing. He is remarkable. And it reminds me, Tim, we had 4 Rotary songs. Yuval remembers the 4 Rotary songs. We could get back to singing a Rotary song now and then with Wes's help here. So,
Oh, God.
I'm getting into trouble, aren't I? So, Wes was married last year to an amazing Allison Glover, also a Rotarian and a member of the Perrysburg Club. Their wedding was organized around one of their shared passions, their Harry Potter stories, which became a dominant theme of their weekend wedding activities. It was an incredibly creative time for all those who were involved. Business-wise, Wes has been involved in multiple business ventures in the fields of healthcare, retail sales, and digital marketing. His current entrepreneurial endeavor is as founder and principal in the firm Marketplace Ninjas, which is a boutique consultancy that helps consumer product manufacturers navigate online marketplaces such as Amazon.com. Wes's track record in the world of Rotary began in 2008 when he had the privilege of participating as a member of the 2008 Rotary Group Study Exchange, which was a remarkable program. He and a team of young professionals in Northwest Ohio made their way to central India for more than a month. There, he had the opportunity to administer the polio vaccine to children and experience firsthand the positive impact Rotary has on the world. Wes was actually joined Rotary in 2013 and has since then worked on numerous projects on the club and district levels, including helping to facilitate the Rotary District 6600 Youth Conflict Resolution and Leadership Workshop, and he's been involved in multiple district conferences. Currently, he serves as our District Rotaract co-chair with his wife Allison, a member of the Perrysburg Club, as I mentioned, and will be serving as Chief of Staff for District Governor-elect Keith Hodkinson, who will take office in 2020 for the year 2020-2021. The things he's most proud of are his amazing wife and how she has helped incorporate the fundamental aspects of Rotary into their personal and professional lives. His pet peeve, referring to oneself in the third person during the conversation, except for Dobie the house elf, who is, I'm told, is a Harry Potter thing, so. His passion is family, work, and Rotary. In short, Wes Grudzian is the kind of person that makes things happen and the kind of person that gives depth to life. Please take some time to get acquainted with Wes. President Tim and fellow Rotarians, please give a warm Rotary welcome to Wes Grudzian as our newest member.
Thank you, sir. Wes, my friend, I would have said that you are a mean euchre player in every sense of the word. Welcome to the Toledo Rotary Club. Thank you for everything you do for Rotary and all of the other stuff in your life.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Looking forward to working with you. Please.
I said one thing because I'm totally new to Rotary, so. Okay, so as part of President Tim's focus on membership growth and engagement, I, along with a few Toledo Rotarians, Brent Kuzno, Kathy, and then my wife, Allie, on the district level, are in the process of forming a community-based Rotaract Club here with the Toledo Rotary, working title Glass City Rotaract. If you're not familiar with Rotaract, it's a program within Rotary that focuses on 21 to 31-year-old future leaders in the business and in organizations. So I have two requests for the club. One is if you have interest in being a part of our subcommittee or working with that, please let me know. And two, please start to identify individuals within either your businesses, or your nonprofits, or the organizations or churches or wherever you belong to that you think would excel in this type of program. Thank you.
Thank you, Wes, and welcome. Next up to the podium today is Joe Sharp. He's a longtime member since 2001. He runs Thread Marketing, and he is a very generous Rotarian in many different ways. Joe is going to be introducing our speaker today. Joe?
Thank you. Hello, everyone. It's my pleasure today to introduce Troy Wildermuth. He is with the Center for Innovative Food Technology, known as CIFT, and his role is a project manager for the Ohio Manufacturing Extension Partnership, also known as MEP. His presentation today is on the Advanced Manufacturing Program for 3D printing. He coordinates activities with economic development organizations, manufacturing companies, and educational institutions within an 18-county territory. In his role, he provides technical assistance to manufacturers within the Northwest Ohio area. Troy earned a bachelor's degree of science and mechanical engineering at Franklin University and an associate degree in design technology at Ohio University. Please welcome Troy.
Good afternoon. When they reached out to me about presenting here, I used to be a Rotarian in Fremont, Ohio, and I thought, well, I can present a couple people, 25, 30 people. They didn't tell me it was 150. But anyway, to get started with Ohio MEP, I don't know how many people know about the MEP. I've been in manufacturing for 30-some years, and I'd never heard about it. They're out there to support manufacturers. They're unfortunately the best kept secret. But I want to tell you a little bit about the MEP first, and then we'll talk about a project that we're working on. The MEP is federally supported by NIST. There's an MEP in every state. They're all organized a little differently, but they're out there to enhance competitiveness, champion manufacturing, support partnerships, and develop capabilities. Basically, anything that manufacturing needs to stay competitive, to stay in business, and to keep going and keep employing people in your area. The Ohio MEP, what we've done so far and the metrics that we go by are jobs retained. This is since 2016. Jobs created, retained sales, cost savings, increased sales, and new investment. And that new investment number is a great number, $42 million in the last 2.5 years. It's all about productivity, growth, innovation, and global competitiveness. The Ohio MEPs broke into 6 divisions or partners. CIFT is the partner in the Northwest Ohio region, and there's other ones throughout the state. It's a little different with CIFT. Years ago, the partners were broke up by specialties. CIFT had all the food and agriculture across the entire state. The partner in Cleveland was called Magnet. They were engineering experts across the entire state. Down in Cincinnati was Texol. Electronic across the state. Well, the state realized everybody was traveling too much. So they said, stay experts in everything in your region, except none of the partners wanted anything to do with food. So CIFT remained agriculture and food for the entire state, but for the 18 counties in the corner, it was all manufacturing. And there's our 18 counties, and in those 18 counties, there's over 1,800 manufacturing companies and over 100,000 jobs. So there's definitely a region there that we can support. And it shows there that we go down to Mercer and over to Sandusky and Seneca. The main focus of the Manufacturing Extension Partnership is we have our next generation strategies: sustainability, supply chain, tech acceleration, continuous improvement, and the one that everybody's talking about now, workforce. For a little more detail, supply chain, basically that's getting your parts into you or your finished goods out. Anything we can do to help, if we can put 2 companies together, they're getting something from Pennsylvania and they're doing multiple trucks, maybe we can put them together and reduce their shipping. We've introduced a lot of companies to forward trade zones. If they're bringing something from out of the country, they can put it in there and help reduce tariffs. Just a lot of different things we can help. And basically we're out there, if the small to medium-sized company, they just don't have the workforce, they don't have a supply chain person, or they don't have an engineer, we're there to help take up that slack. Tech acceleration, just like I talked about with engineering, a lot of the smaller companies, they may have an engineer that knows their product and how to make their product, but they might not have an engineer that knows how to automate their line or how to improve in technology. So we can get that person in there and help them do that. If we don't have the expertise ourselves, we have a lot of service providers that we use within our area that can come in and do that work. So it's sort of a win-win there, because we're helping the manufacturer, but we're also helping that service provider get jobs and keep jobs in Ohio. Workforce. Every plant I've been into since I've had this job for 3 years, it's the first thing they say. We say, what do you need? And they say people. So what we're trying to do, we've partnered with Road State down in Lima to help broaden our region. But basically, we talk to people. They can hire someone that wants to work, that can pass a drug test, but they might not have the skills they need. They need a welder, or they need a machinist, or they need someone that can run a CNC. So we encourage them to do the certificate programs at Rhodes and at CTS here in Toledo. Northwest State, over on the other side of the state or region, to train those people, get their certificates so they can move them into, a more important job, a job that everybody can work with, and then let the menial jobs be done either by people that rotate out a lot or eventually go into robotics. Sustainability, basically anything that you have to do and you might not want to do to keep running. That's EPA, that's OSHA, all the ISO standards. Again, manufacturers don't have the ability to have someone in that position for every job, so they have to bring someone in from the outside, and we make that connection. We also help on the energy side of things. We have a grant that we get through the Ohio EPA that actually pays half of an energy assessment, so we can come into your plant and look at your electrical usage, your heating and air conditioning, your gas, your compressed air, and show you the different things you can change to save money. And a lot of times you can take that assessment to the power provider, and they may help you pay for those changes. And again, we have money that can help with that. Continuous improvement. Almost every plant we talk to needs help with this. They don't have the time. They're worried about their day-to-day business. They're worried about getting the customer happy. They're worried about putting out the fires that pop up and worried about workforce. So we can come in and help them implement Lean, which can be 5S, TPM, SMED, all the different things that they need in their operation, depending on what they're doing. And Lean isn't trying to do more with less people. Lean is doing more with less waste. And waste can be time, materials, people. We go in there and show them how to be just more efficient at what they're doing. And maybe they won't need to hire those extra people that they can't find. This is a short video from NIST.
Since the time of the earliest tools and the mastery of fire, technological progress has been an integral part of being human. By utilizing technology, we have surpassed the most efficient and capable life forms on our planet. But in a world of ever-increasing complexity and finite resources, we are now presented with a whole new set of challenges. How will the next industrial revolution change the way we live? And quite possibly, what it means to be human. Throughout history, there have been periods of remarkable innovation. The first industrial revolution created new goods and new jobs through the introduction of manufacturing. The power of water, iron, and steam helped bring manufacturing out of our homes and into a larger world. Cities and opportunities grew. In the second, we forged better materials such as steel, harnessed the power of oil through internal combustion engines, and utilized electricity through generators and transmission lines. We catalyzed manufacturing and expanded what was possible. After the digital revolution, we possess computers so small they can fit in our pockets, and they're 1,000,000 times cheaper and 1,000,000 times more powerful than the best supercomputer only 25 years ago. Connecting through the internet has encouraged an incredible library of knowledge, setting the stage for the greatest revolution yet. So what is the fourth industrial revolution? Industry 4.0 involves a range of new technologies that are fusing the physical, digital, and biological worlds and impacting all disciplines, economies, and industries. Central to this revolution are emerging technology breakthroughs in areas such as robotics, artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, autonomous vehicles, nanotechnology, and 3D printing. These technologies can improve lives, create new jobs, make goods cheaper and better, and impact the world in ways we have yet to imagine. While it's remarkable to see the current trends, it's important to remember that technological progress is not simply guaranteed. It requires people to make it happen. This is your opportunity to get involved. This revolution does not happen without your help. Now is the time to be imagining. Now is the time to be creating. Now is the time to be a manufacturer.
Discover how the MEP National Network helps manufacturers. Visit the website below or contact your local MEP center at 1-800-MEP-4MFG.
He's got a much better speaking voice than I do. Now to talk about, again, we get into some programs and sometimes we come across funding that we can help manufacturers with. Currently, like I said, we have the energy assessment funding. We just recently came into some new client funding where if you're a new client to MEP, we can help with some of the projects. We have cybersecurity funding. That was a big deal in the last couple of years, especially with the Department of Defense suppliers. They had to get to a certain level of security. So we had some funding that could help them do that. We had some 3D printing funding that we could help people to try 3D printing if they've never tried it before. And then we also sometimes come across what we call AMP grants. The AMP grant stands for Advanced Manufacturing Program. Basically what they do is go out and find an entrepreneur that is doing something that is going to go eventually to manufacturing and try to help them bring together all the people they need to support their product and to take this product to the next level. And I think it was 2017 actually this started, we found a company that is making filament for 3D printing. And that filament was unique because it could pass Class 1, Class 2 for medical, to where the first thoughts were possibly for casts, because Class 1, Class 2 is for on the outside of the skin, not inside the body. And I'm getting ahead of my own stuff here. And the lead applicant there was FiberTough. They were the biopolymer maker of the filament. We brought in some places from Youngstown, Whiteside Orthotics and Prosthetics, and Juggerbot 3D was actually the printer people, and then Mercy Health helped fund the printers themselves. So there, the top picture is of the filament. It sort of looks like weed eater line if you've ever had to fill that thing and it comes unwound as you're doing it. It's a little bigger, but it's pretty much that consistency, at least in my opinion. And like I said, the uniqueness of this filament is it can be put on skin and will not have a bad reaction. And we've helped, this grant has helped pay for that testing to prove that. The other uniqueness is can be very efficient and exact on printing. Those little orange things there are actually a knee joint of a dog, and you really couldn't tell the difference between them and the actual joint. Then another test that they had to do with 3D printing, a lot of the plastic that is 3D printed nowadays, when you put it in water, it'll eventually absorb the water, and that is not something you want on your skin. So what they did, this filament, they did a very simple test. They put it in a boat, they set it on some water, and it floated forever. It never absorbed that water, and it kept floating, so it was a good test that the material did not absorb water. These slides, all we did was print some samples, and then we were able to coat it with copper, nickel, and gold. And I'll explain later why that's important, but they also did scratch and bending tests to make sure it would stay adhered. So we could print something and then coat it with nickel, gold, or copper. What we decided to go down the path of was custom orthotics. And we used a scanning software so you can scan the patient's foot and have a perfect 3D image of their foot, and then custom print the orthotic to fit exactly that foot. So instead of buying the one-size-fits-all orthotic that might work or might not work, you can buy one and have it printed, and it would be perfect for your foot. And what's nice with that, too, is you don't have to do a plaster cast, you don't have to do any molds around someone's foot. They sit in a chair, and you scan them, and they're done. Back to those things with the plating. What the step of that was for was we can plate it, put sensors in that plate, put that on the orthotic, and it can sense different things about you. It can sense how much pressure in what part of your foot. It can also test your blood supply. If you're not getting enough blood supply to your feet, it will know that, and it'll send a message to your cell phone and say, hey, you need to get to the doctor. This is very good for like a diabetic that has issues, and people have lost their feet by not knowing that information. So that's where we thought we'd really to get on the road of, is continuing with being able to implant sensors and stuff into the orthotic so that people will have the smartphone information. And the next step that we're doing, that we're in process right now, we're trying to wrap the grant up by the end of this September, is for modeling. The first three processes there shows how it's done nowadays. The person has to have their cast wrapped around their foot with all the gooey plaster and stuff. Then it's pulled off, and then plaster's poured down inside that mold, and then it's taken off that mold, and then the person has to sand it and form it and basically be a sculpture artist to be able to get a good program or a good mold to be able to make the brace or the orthotic or whatever is needed for this person. And instead, you scan it, they don't get dirty at all, you print off, it looks like their leg or their foot, and then you can make the brace or the orthotic or the cast or whatever exactly to fit that person's leg or arm or whatever you're working on. So I think that the next step is definitely a good process. They're also starting, not with this grant, but with possibly another grant, to look at if the filament will work inside the body, to where you could print a bone or print something that could go inside the body. But we'd have to start with animal testing. I mean, that's sort of my presentation. I open it up to questions. Kathy Whitty, raise your hand. Associate of mine can answer questions. If you have more questions about MEP, we'll hang around a little bit after. But if anyone have any questions now, if you'd like to jump on the mic, I guess.
Thank you very much. One of the joys of the peripatetic academic is he discovers that Rotary clubs give talks about things he invented 25 years ago in various kinds of contexts. That is the situation today. I printed the first CAT scan in my labs at Bowling Green in 1989, and it's become a business here locally in a company called Spectre Group Photopolymers, now owned by Formlabs, which is located across from Lake High School on 795, which is soon to become the Avenue of Light, where Force Solar and Spectre Group Photopolymers and Formlabs are located. This is a company that was built out of the Center for Photochemical Sciences at Bowling Green. And if you use a 3D printer that's an orange printer, if you have an orange top on your printer, the stuff's made here. So I would say very much this is an excellent idea, but I'm sure the business plan is going to be obviated by other companies and other technologies, and carbon is one that is not our company. But the bottom line is this is very nice to train the people that are doing this technology, but I wonder if it's got an application in the current commerce.
The Whiteside Orthotics in Youngstown is definitely excited. They're going down different roads with the plating. They may just be actually inserting the sensors directly into the printed orthotic. And there are, multiple companies out there that will be doing this. We're not trying to be the only ones doing this. This is what we're encouraging. It's what the AMP grant's about, is to take this future technology forward so other people can manufacture it also. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Just stay for a minute. I have a couple questions. Where does the funding come from for all that you do?
For all that we do?
Yes.
Part of it comes from the federal government, part of it comes from the state of Ohio.
And for these new technologies that, at least in part, has been funded here locally, how do we ensure that at least some of it stays in Ohio?
I don't know if we can ensure it, but the companies we work with, we stay in Ohio. We only do business with that company in Ohio.
And if I'm a manufacturer or a small business, how do I know about you?
Yeah, we've been working on that one. We have a website, and we're out there with NIST. NIST does a good job with social media, but you have to look for it sort of hard, unfortunately.
Have you thought about presenting to Rotary clubs?
I don't know. They're a hard group.
Thanks very much. Thank you. Before you leave, thank you for that great presentation. I thought it was very interesting. As part of our thank you, we have this book about the historical tales of Toledo as a gift. And also, we will make a donation in your name to the Rotary Polio Fund. So thank you very much. It's a quick meeting today. Anybody have any thoughts before I close this meeting very early? That's right. We have Chuck. Where are you? Chuck.
Thank you. Friendship Committee business, there is a card out on the table for the family of Robert Alexander. If anyone or everyone would like to sign the card, it's a sympathy card, that'd be nice. I'm asked once in a while where I come up with these, and for the most part I don't answer that to protect the innocent. But once in a while I can give credit where credit is due. This came from Mary Worth. Now, radio legend Bob Kelly still has a show Saturday mornings, and about 8:30, if you tune in, he reads Mary Worth every Saturday morning, and this is from Saturday morning's Mary Worth. It's a letter. Dear makers of Tide detergent, I am writing to say what an excellent product you have. I've used it all of my married life, as my mom has always told me it was the best. Now that I'm in my 60s, I find it even better. In fact, about a month ago, I spilled some red wine on my new white blouse. My inconsiderate and uncaring husband started to belittle me about how clumsy I was and generally started becoming a pain in the neck. Well, one thing led to another, and somehow I ended up with his blood on my new white blouse. I grabbed my bottle of Tide Ultra detergent with bleach, and to my surprise and satisfaction, all of the stains came out. In fact, the stains came out so well that the detectives who came by yesterday told me that the DNA tests on my blouse were negative. Then my attorney called and said that I was no longer considered a suspect in the disappearance of my husband. What a relief. I thank you once again for having a great product. Well, gotta go. Have to write a letter to the hefty trash bag people. Truly yours, Marion.
Okay. Thank you, Chuck. Next week's meeting is going to be with, our speaker will be Marlon Kisser with WGTE. There are no meetings after this meeting, and a reminder that this is the final day to have your picture taken for the new Rotary directory. And my wish for everyone in this room is that you connect to your world and you reach out and make someone smile. We are adjourned.